Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we will be creating a fall themed thank you card using the Summer Silhouette stamp set by Gina K Designs. Before we begin ink blending our autumn sky, I will be using my Misty tool to heat emboss the foliage. Before we heat emboss, I'm going to use my masking magic to mask off the area between our ink blended image and where we will be stamping the word thanks. Before I heat emboss, I'm going to go ahead and prep my card base using an anti-static powder tool to make sure I remove all static from my card panel. Here I will be using my Tailored Expressions powder tool. And then I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink pad, which is a clear sticky ink. And I'm going to stamp my image. Because I'm filming, I went ahead and stamped my image twice. You don't need to, but again, because I'm filming, it's always just best practice to stamp twice just in case. Now to remove my card panel from the sticky mat, I actually fold the sticky mat away from the card so that way I don't accidentally rip it when removing it from the sticky mat. The sticky mat isn't super sticky, but just in case, it's always best to just fold the sticky mat away from the card. And now I'm going to go ahead and apply my black embossing powder, making sure to cover the entire stamped image. Off screen, I do have my heat tool preheating. It's always best to have the tool nice and hot before bringing it to your embossing powder. I have noticed when my heat gun is nice and hot, I get less warpage from the cardstock. You don't have to preheat your heat tool, but if you do notice your card panel is warping a lot, try preheating it first before you bring it to your embossing powder. And so now I'm going to bring out my waffle flower stencil mat because I will be ink blending using my Distress Oxide inks in the color Dried Marigold and Festive Berries. Starting with the Dried Marigold, I will ink blend the bottom portion of the foliage, working my way toward the upper portion of the card. Next, I will bring in the Festive Berries and blend the color into the Dried Marigold. Your first layer of ink does not need to be perfect when ink blending. All you're doing is laying down your colors. And in my experience, the more color I add, the easier time I have getting my colors to blend together. Trust the process. It'll look like a hot mess at first, but like I said, once the first layer of ink has been applied, you will have an easier time blending the colors together. Don't try to achieve the perfect blend right off the bat. Just focus on applying the color, then focus on smoothing out the transition lines, and you will notice a difference in your ink blending. Now, my process may not work for everyone, but it's a great foundation if you're struggling with your ink blending. I feel this is a great start, and you may need to tweak some things to better suit your crafting needs. But again, if you struggle with ink blending, give this technique a try. Now that I'm happy with my ink blended background, I'm going to go ahead and take a microfiber cloth and I'm going to wipe away the excess ink off of my embossed image. I'm going to slowly peel away my masking magic and look at that crisp line the masking magic leaves behind. Now I'm going to use my Master Layouts 1 die set from Gina K Designs to cut out my panel. I'm also going to use the ribbon strips die from Master Layouts 8 to cut a strip out of black glitter cardstock. I'm also going to use the layering die from Master Layouts 1 to cut out the layering panel from white cardstock. Instead of using white cardstock, you could use black cardstock, and normally I would, but in this case today I'm going to create my own black cardstock using my Distress Oxide inks in the color Black Soot. So this is a good trick if you ever run out of black cardstock. You can kind of create your own. Again, using a blending brush in the color Black Soot, I'm just going to go ahead and ink blend all over the card panel. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is the layering piece. So you will notice I'm only going to ink blend around the edges, and I'm actually going to leave the center of the panel white because that's going to get covered up anyways, so you won't see it. And again, that's a good hack if you ever run out of black cardstock. I will be heat embossing the word thanks from the Doodled Autumn stamp set from Gina K Designs. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid adhesive, another product from Gina K Designs, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere my black strip to my card panel. Taking some scissors, I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess that's hanging over the sides. Now we're going to go ahead and bring our MISTI back in, and we're going to add our panel down and tucked into the corner. I'm going to bring in the word thanks and line it up using the grid lines of my MISTI to make sure it's nice and straight. We're going to prep our card panel with our anti-static powder tool because we're going to heat emboss the word thanks. For me, it was really important to make sure that that card is tucked into the corner and that it doesn't shift because I end up stamping the word thanks twice. But I stamp it once, heat emboss, and then I need to actually come back in to stamp it a second time since I didn't like the way the first heat embossing went. So you'll see in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my embossing powder. My stamp was new and I didn't prep the stamp before stamping, which is why I did not get a great image. To prep your stamp, all you need to do is run your hand or your finger over the stamp until it turns a cloudy color. It will go from clear to cloudy, and that's how you know the stamp has been prepped. Here you can kind of see it didn't stamp very well, which is why the MISTI tool is fantastic because I can pop my card panel back into the same spot and restamp my image. Which here I did because I just didn't like the way that looked. You still want to follow your prep steps, but because I did not remove the stamp, it is going to stamp exactly in the same spot. I'm going to bring my embossing powder back in. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss, and it turned out a lot better. I was very happy with it. Yeah, much better. And so now I'm going to go ahead and fill in the sky with a few butterflies. And those butterflies came from the Summer Silhouette stamp set. And I'm going to heat emboss those as well. Again, prep, stamp, and then apply your embossing powder. You don't need to stamp twice, but because I'm filming, I do. And it's just kind of best practice in general. I usually just stamp it twice. It doesn't hurt. I'm going to adhere the front panel to the layering panel using my Connect liquid adhesive. It's time to refill my bottle. I'm going to line them up and adhere them together, and then I'm going to bring in some embellishments. These are glossy porcelain pearls from Lucy Cards. Today's card will measure 4¼ by 5½, and it'll be a top folding card, A2 size card. And that will complete today's card project. I hope you enjoyed today's card project. I would love it if you gave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!